for views and things like that. That's a whole other route that we could talk about, right? But I think there's a balance. So for example, with the advice that I would give to somebody, like you said, if there's somebody who, the only thing I can speak from is my own experience. So if they're like, hey, I kind of want to do something similar to what you did, then what I did really was I focused on trying to give 100% of my best to each of those areas at the same time. So coming up through the belts, like I was, doing the entire training thing. I was training 2, 3 times a day, lifting, strength, conditioning, nutrition, all that kind of stuff, 24/7. But I was also working full time as an instructor and like doing sales and managing academies. And then I was also putting a lot of energy into social media. So I was creating content. I was reaching out to brands. I was under promising and over delivering constantly. I was asking to be on cards constantly. I got told no constantly, right? So it's like over and over and over and over again, putting yourself out there, and there's going to be a lot of rejection. But I think that doing all of those three things at the same time and being really willing, like people I think overuse the word sacrifice a lot. Like, yes, there are things you sacrifice, but it was really just a choice. It was like, well, this is what I want to do. This is what I want my future to look like. These are my priorities. So for me, like not partying or not having like a lot of friendships outside of jiu-jitsu didn't feel like a sacrifice. It felt supportive to what I was doing. So I would say like that was kind of the path that I took. That helped a lot. I tried to learn a lot from people that had more experience with social media than I did. And I asked questions of higher level athletes than I was. And it's funny, I always tell people this when they ask about making money in jiu-jitsu. And obviously Gordon Ryan's super controversial, but he was one of the first people that I spoke to that would give me like answers about money. Like I would ask him questions about like what people get paid by sponsors and what people get paid on fights. And of course, not in a disrespectful way where he's giving me dates and times and who did what and who said what and what the contracts looked like, but it was ballpark numbers and it was, specific enough to give me a lot to work with. And so I think a combination of all those things led me to be able to boost my career in ways that, for example, if you look at my career right now, I was able to do really well coming up and win a lot of things. But in the last year and a half, I've barely even been on the mats at all, but I've been able to actually have probably the most lucrative time in my career doing other things that were built by the years that I had before. But it's because I was building all of them at the same time.